All right. Hello, hello. Happy Monday. It is a lower body day today, lower body strength and core today. Equipment wise, I will be using this chair right here. You guys see that? You probably already know that. In addition to my 8-pound dumbbells and my glute bands, which I will be giving you options for our exercises that we're going to do. But we're going to start off with a warm up, which indeed you will need space. So I'm going to actually move this stuff out of my way and get on down onto the floor here so you can join me, because we are going to be bow and arrowing our way through the start of the warm up. So you can come on down, lay on the floor here. We're going to take this top leg and weave it underneath the bottom, like so, trying to make and keep contact with this knee and leg on the floor. We'll stack our arms and shoulders, take a big breath in, and then we'll exhale across. Oh, we know this one, it feels so nice. And try to get our arm all the way straight. If you don't quite have enough room like me, we'll try to just bend it and make contact with the floor. And then we'll reach up and over our head until we're back to the center. And we are doing 10 of these this morning. 10 per side, 10 on this side, 10 on the other, not spending too long in that stretching position. The part of that feels quite nice. We'll just get there and then leave, come back to center, going through 10. Once you're done 10, we shall switch sides and complete 10 on the other side. So same weaving of the legs, nice deep breaths between every one of our reps. You can inhale and then we'll exhale and cross. Up and over and repeat through 10 of them. Let's do it. Okay, so once we are done 10, which I know you're not, because these ones actually take a little bit of time to get through. They should. We're not trying to rush through them. We are going to set ourselves up into our infamous 90-90 position, which in theory, you guys should be getting more comfortable because it's something that we work on a regular basis. Plus, we are doing this after we do that other one, which does help us open up our hips a bit. Again, if you are uncomfortable sitting up in this 90-90 position where we have 90 degrees at both of our knees, we can lean back a little bit, that's okay. But we will try to get contact with both of our butt cheeks, okay? And then we'll flip the legs side to side, going through 10 of these total. Just trying to, again, keep both hips down. Eventually, maybe we can sit up. Maybe today is the day. You could try, see what happens. And then if it's very uncomfortable and tight, again, you can lean back a little bit if you need. We're going through 10 of those, 10 total, okay? And then we're going to stand up off the floor and bring ourselves to the very front of our mat, where we will stand hip width apart. Doing it here, we got one more hopping in, yay. All right, you guys can bring it on up here. Come on, join me here at the front of your mat. Morning, morning. We will be stepping back into a lunge and trying to bring both hands down onto the floor, opening up towards that leg, touching the floor again, and then we'll stand ourselves up to the top and do that one on the other side. So I'll go down into that lunge, open up towards that leg. We're trying to keep that guy slightly bent in the back. Close that, and then we'll stand up to the top. 10 of these total, you're doing 5 of them per side. So we're alternating right side, left side, again, opening up towards that front leg, okay? And you will find out the hard way if you do this the wrong way. If you try to open up away from this leg, you are simply just probably going to lose your balance, because that's what happens. So we'll go through those. Opening up towards the leg. This one, we're getting a nice opening through the hips, low back, chest and shoulders, okay? So we'll just work it, again, as we can, going through 10 of those. Very nice. Okay. So once we're done 10, we're going to get ourselves into a squat stance. Sitting ourselves down into a squat. Again, feet are a little bit wider than our hips, toes slightly pointed out. We're going to take our elbows, put them on the insides of our knees, and push out so we feel that pressure against our knees. And then we will release that and stand up to the top, going through 10 of these total, with the goal of opening up all the muscles in the inner thighs, which you'll feel at the bottom of that squat. We're sitting down, ideally to 90 degrees. But again, if you can't quite sit that low, or if you have some pre-existing stuff going on in your knees, you could even just put your hands on the insides of your legs rather than having to sink down to the elbows, okay? But we're doing 10 of those, so maybe towards the 10th. you'll be able to get that going on. All right. So we have a couple more to go in this warm up. The next two are all about activation. We're going to go into our hip loaded step through for our glute activation. We'll be shifting all of our weight onto one of our legs, getting that leg straight but soft in the knee, and we'll be working with a hip hinge where we push our hips back. Wherever that other leg ends up, that's fine. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you're feeling tension and tight in this hip, and then we'll pull our hips forward, going through 15 reps, okay? And you should feel every single one of these reps because we're conscious and we're trying to be very intentional with what's happening in our hips, okay? And this is important because we're going to start off with some exercises where we are using the glutes, and if we are not waking them up and getting them ready, prepared, because again, we most likely haven't done too much, especially to activate our glutes. We want to get those guys ready back there, and that is going to help keep us safe and overall just use the right muscles. So we'll get these 15 per side. Okay, so 15, and then we'll try to get 15 on the other side, going through that same feeling. Once we're done those ones, we are headed down onto the floor into the next one, which is all about our core. We're going to be working with our lateral bear crawl. So you can bring yourself over to one side of the mat. We're going to get ourselves into our all four position, hands and knees, shoulders stacked on the wrists, hips stacked on the knees, and I am facing this way, although if you want to get a little side angle, this is going to be us, okay? And I'm on one side of the mat because I'm going to walk myself opposite hand, opposite foot, all the way down the length of the mat. Once I get to the other side, moving opposites together, I'll start walking myself all the way back, trying to maintain that just off knee position, okay? So we're trying our best to move those limbs together, as well as avoid that tilting, shifting, lifting that might want to happen in our body and hips. So there and back, you are doing that twice, okay? So yes, once you're back to where you started, we will take ourselves through one more set of that, which will make us very warm. And then we have one last exercise that is down on the floor here, so don't get too excited about standing up once you're done that second crawl. We're going to lay onto our back here, finish up with our bridge walks with a single leg hip thrust incorporated. So what we're going to do is lay on our back here, have our feet very close to start, knees close. We'll be in our bridging position. We're going to drive our hips up to the very top of that bridge while having that strong core. We'll lift up one leg, lower the hips, touching the back, not the butt, and then we'll drive back up. And then I will switch legs, trying to tighten up my hips, keep them stable, lowering, touching my back, pushing back up. That's 2. And we are doing 20 of these, okay? So we'll go through 20 total. Again, when we shift legs, you're going to feel this. This wants to happen. That's what we want to avoid though. So this is again something that you have to think about, tightening up that leg that's going to take all of the weight before you lift up this opposite one. So we'll work through 20, 10 per side. These ones are alternating right side, left side. Okay, and then, you shall be very warm. Okay, you're warm after that bear crawl. All right, so we'll get through 20 of those, 10 per side. Then you can grab yourself some water. Whoop, whoop. Okay, we are going to start you off with our first exercises. We have 2 of them that we're going to do. We will be needing our chair here because the first one we are going to get out of the way is our rear foot elevated split squats. So we have been working with a theme the past few weeks here, or last week, that we will continue is starting off our first couple exercises on a timer. So what we're going to do is have you guys work on a minute-long timer. We're going to have 60 seconds on, 30 seconds off to rest between each exercise, okay? And the first one is a double-sided exercise. So we're going to be working with a split squat. Again, we're doing 1 minute of these split squats on this one side here. We have lots of options in terms of what we're going to do for weight. We can add weights in our hands. down here, okay, which I would suggest, but some of us might find this challenging enough without weights, okay? We are going to complete 4 sets total, and we will be working with a second exercise, which is going to use our band, which is a variation of that band side step, okay, something similar to that. So you'll need those bands close, and if you are going to potentially add weight, you'll want to bring them out, because we are going to use them. Now, I am just going to set my timer here so you guys can take a couple deep breaths. Get yourself set up for this, okay? Again, if you do not have something to elevate that back foot, what we're going to do is just do this style of a split squat, okay? But ideally, we do want something, even if it is just a stair or a stool, to lift that back foot up so that we can get more focus on the back side. Okay. You guys ready for this? Whoop, whoop, whoop. All right, so what we're going to do is start off with those split squats. All right, we're going to get right into them. I will explain that second exercise on that rest because we do have 30 seconds of full-on rest between each side of our split squat as well as the next exercise. Okay, are you guys ready for this? As ready as where we're going to be? Okay, we are starting in 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Let's do it. So again, if you know right off the bat that you want to add weights, you can grab onto those weights. You can start your first set with the weights. Okay, but if you have a feeling that is going to be challenging enough body weight, which it very well might be for some of us, then don't worry about it. Okay, you can always add them in on your next set. You have to do 3 more. Okay, but don't worry about that yet. We're going to get through this first one. And if you don't have dumbbells, we can add something like this, band underneath that opposite foot. Or again, you can go body weight and do something to make this feel harder, like slowing down on that lowering part, or adding a pause at the bottom. All right, you have 15 seconds left. All right, starting to feel it. You already were. So we'll just keep breathing through this, pushing ourselves up with the exhale. 3, 2, 1, and we will rest. Okay, so 30 seconds of rest. This feels quite nice right now, okay? What we're going to do is, again, just what you can do is step this foot forward and keep your feet in the same position. And just take a couple of deep breaths. If you really want to put your weights down, you can, but you have 10 seconds until you want to pick them back up and do your other leg. Now, you're most likely feeling that one leg that you worked, but if you ever need a reminder on what leg you just did, here we go. You guys can start your second leg. But usually what I do is I just put the weights in front of the leg that I need to do, and that way I kind of remember. Sometimes it happens. Okay, so second leg, second side. Let's do this. Let's get it. Okay, so we're breathing through all these reps, trying to keep it as even as we can as to what we did on the first side. We're halfway through. Let's do it. Okay, so then inhaling on the way down, exhaling, trying to push ourselves up. There it is. Okay, 15 seconds left. There we go. Couple more. 3, 2, 1, and time. Okay, so what we're going to do now is take those weights, put them aside if you were using them, and grab onto that band, which we will want to put around our ankles, around our heels. If you do not have a band, that's okay. You're going to follow along doing the same thing without a band. We're going to get ourselves into that same hip hinging position that we were practicing in the warm-up, but we're doing this on both legs. So standing shoulder width apart, soft knees will push our hips back so that we feel tight in the backside here. We have this band around our heels like this, and I'm going to step one side out on that 45 and put it back, and then step the other side out, trying to avoid too much shifting side to side. Now there's going to be some, because we have to shift to have that hip loaded as we step out to the side. But if there's too much, we're going to be creating momentum, which we don't want. So we'll try to pull our belly button in, and we're working through this. Okay, you guys started, 30 seconds left. Woohoo! Stepping out right side and left side. Out on that 45 and let's do it. Okay, the whole time, again, I'm in this kind of athletic position, hip loaded, butte burnin exercise, 15 seconds left. Okay, so we'll try to just keep working through this. And if you don't have that band, same thing, okay? Oh, yes. Okay, 3, 2, 1, and unband. Whoop, 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 whoop. Now this is why we have this nice 30 seconds of rest, okay, because we are doing this 3 more times. Back to the first one, your split squats. Now that first set, hopefully you did kind of assess your situation towards the end of that minute. If you were struggling and you could barely finish the minute, I want you to do the exact same thing that you did on that first set, whether it was weights, no weights, whatever it was. Let's do it again. Here we go, okay? If you found it was a little bit easy, I did talk about some options to make it harder. You most likely don't have more weights, although if you do, that is option number 1, okay? Is adding resistance or adding more if we have it. Or we can add more time under tension in the hardest parts of the exercise, which is the bottom or the way down, okay? Second set, we are 30 seconds in, okay? So we'll try to get through this set and use our breath, pushing the hips back behind us, okay? So we have that glute doing the work, push ourselves up, rather than staying up like this and feeling more in the front. Okay, if you are feeling more here than here, you might have to think about a bit more hips back action. 10 more seconds left. Woo! And that's the nice thing about being on a timer, okay? So you don't have to think about reps. So you really can focus more on what you're feeling and resting. And you're probably doing many more reps than you normally would. So we're resting right now. Again, we have this 30 seconds, in which you have 20 left of, before we switch and do the other side. Okay, so we'll just take some deep breaths. 10 more seconds, all right? Bring yourself to a place where you're gonna be able to do this. Second side, all right? 3, 2, and here we go. All right, pick up those weights if you need to, band up if you need to, and let's do it. Second set, second side. Let's get it. Okay, so we're working through this. Again, trying to do the same thing that you did on the first side, no matter how it feels. 30 seconds left. There you go. Okay, so again, breathing, exhaling on the way up. That is the power here. Your breath, your exhale is going to help you through those reps that you really don't think that you are able to do. Okay, 10 seconds left, and that's how I want you feeling right now, is that you really need to stop, all right? And you can in 3, 2, 1, and woo! Second side done. Nice work, guys. We'll put those down, grab onto our band up around our heels, and get ourselves ready. Okay, I'll let you do 20 seconds. All right, so if you need to grab sips of water between these, you just kind of take a little walk it off. That's all good. Okay, but get ready to start in 10 seconds for those step outs. Technical term. Okay, so hip width apart, and soft knees, straight legs, nice strong core. We're going to pull our belly button in, push those hips back. You should feel tight back here before you do anything. Okay, and like we talk about, anytime we're doing this kickback kind of situation here, we're thinking maybe that you should be working that kicking leg, but it's actually the standing leg that we're working. So this one here, which is why, again, it's important that we don't shift too much and that we're feeling tight in our glutes before we step out, okay? So I want you guys to get the most out of this one. And this one, like other banded exercises, sometimes can be hard to feel. So we want to feel everything here on the hinge, all right? So if you're not feeling tight, if you need to come back up here and find that position to start. 15 seconds left. Oh, yeah. Okay, so should be, hopefully, feeling your glutes, your backside, because that is totally my goal by the superset rest. Take that band off. Keep it close. Don't slingshot it away quite yet. We're gonna need it still for 2 more sets, okay? But you do have time to rest right now, so grab some water. If you wanna sit down, that's okay. You have 15 seconds left before we are going to start our 3rd set. And this is where we know it starts to get serious. It starts to get very challenging. We're starting to get tired, okay? Especially of doing these split squats. But no, we have 2 more sets, and then we are done, okay? So there's your light at the end of the tunnel. So here we go on our 3rd set, and whatever you did on the 2nd, we will try our best to do again, all right? Because that is the one where we kind of thought about it a little bit more. We added weights, so let's do it again right now. 3rd set. So I'm gonna work through this one, and whatever you guys are doing, you have 30 more seconds of it. There you go. Trying to make all your reps as even as possible. Taking your sweet time with them. Okay. And the nice thing about those pause reps or those kind of slower reps is that you don't actually do as much. It kind of makes time go a little bit faster when you're on a timer like this. You have 10 seconds left. So you can easily make this 10 seconds into like 1 or 2 reps by just going very slow, rather than doing like 5 because you're going so fast. Rest. Nice work. All right, so again, we'll step forward. You want to put your weights down, okay? Take some deep breaths. You're going to need them for the 2nd side of our 3rd set. All right, so we're starting in just over 10 seconds. So we'll get ourselves as mentally prepared as we can, okay? Grab onto those weights, pick them up, band up. 3, 2, 1, and let's go. Let's do it up. I'm trying to stay as strong as we can here through all these sets. This is our first exercise, our first official exercise after warm-up. So I like to think this is the time where you're the strongest in the session. So let's try to remember that, channel that energy, that fresh weekend energy, and get this done. Okay, 30 seconds left right here on this side. Let's do weights. Okay, we have 1 more set. This one, not too bad, 20 more seconds. Okay, so again, take our time. We'll try to do the same thing we did on the 1st set. We did slow down towards the end there. That's all good. Okay, try to do it again. 10 seconds left. Reading through these last few most challenging reps. You can do them. 3, 2, 1, and put this down. Nice work. Okay, and get it out of your way. So again, we're going into those step outs. All right, so we'll band up, grab some water. Okay, get yourself ready. This is going to take us into our last set. We have 1 more for this one. Okay. So our bodies, I always talk about this, they always want to make stuff easier. It always wants to find sneaky ways to cheat. Now in this one, here we go, which we're going to start right now, and we're going to start off having parallel feet, soft knees, pushing the hips back, and working with this step out. Now something that happens, and it will just kind of happen, it's not really something that we think about, is an outward turn in the foot. So as we step out, we kind of step out like this and turn and tap the foot. We want to avoid that at all costs, because what we're doing when we do this is involving the front of the hips. That is nowhere near the focus of this exercise. So what we want to do is square off our hips forward and make sure that they're not turning, but they stay forward, and that hip and leg stays turned in rather than having that opening situation. Not only is that involving hip, but we're also kind of twisting on that knee. Okay, so we'll make sure we're not doing that. Make sure you're looking down, do a little shoulder check. Okay. And 10 seconds left. They've distracted you a little bit by checking your form. We'll breathe through these last few reps. 3, 2, 1. Resting. We have 1 last set. Okay, and then we are done. These 2, which I know sounds great right now, because I know these minute-long split squats are no joke. Okay, but you have 1 more set. We are going to do them as strong as we can, and that starts in 15 seconds. So if you have one side that is harder than the other, okay, and you know that, let's start on that side. Let's get that side done. All right, 5 seconds. grab onto your weights, whatever you were using for your third set, and let's go. Starting our final round of our split squats, getting them done right away, right off the bat, okay? We have 45 seconds left. We're going to breathe through these. Okay, and this set, this is our most important set. Okay, so we'll try to finish as strong as we can, pace ourselves. 30 seconds left, more than halfway on this leg, and then we are done on this leg. So let's try our best to stay strong. 20 more seconds, okay? Let's do about 5 more reps, but take our sweet time. Maybe make it 3 more because you're going so slow. Okay, whatever you need to do, keep going for 10 more seconds. You got this, okay? Stay with us. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and rest. Great work. Okay, woo, 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 woo. Have to do the other side. You already knew that. Okay, we're gonna get it done in 20 seconds. Don't get too excited about starting yet. I'm gonna take all this rest, all the rest that we can. You see why we have the 30 seconds in here though, hopefully. Okay, so 10 more seconds here. Again, if you put your weights down, pick them up. We're gonna get ourselves ready, starting in 5 seconds. Last set, last side. Let's go. Okay, this is it, the final round, 60 seconds. Okay, let's do it. As even as possible. Again, you did your hard side, most likely, if you have one, okay? Hopefully you did. And so that side is over with. Just have to worry about this one right here, which hopefully is your stronger side. I mean, some of us don't necessarily have that, but lots of us do. 30 seconds left, and we'll try to just breathe through it and keep it even. No matter what you did on the first side, we need it over here, okay? So don't think about stopping. Don't think about speeding through them, okay? Try to do the same thing. 15 seconds left. You got this. This is it. 10 more seconds. Let's go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and rest. Oh, yes. Okay. Woo. So, the last part. We are so done with this. I'm done with the timer for now. We'll be back on it after. But we have to do this final exercise. Be standing. Step out. Okay, back or not, we are starting in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so hinge those hips back. We're feeling tight. You can bring our arms in front of you, and we'll kick one leg back behind us. We're trying our best to not shift too much, okay? And something that happens, if you can't really control that shift, you might be kicking out too far. That's going to kind of bring us back like this. And that's also going to make this a little bit easier and less effective because we're putting some weight on that back leg. So we want to keep it as forward as possible. You just very lightly tap the floor behind you. That foot, maintaining that parallel. Okay, 20 seconds left. You got this. Last chance with this one. Okay, feeling the hips. Again, trying to keep those hips squared off. 10 seconds left. Almost there. Woo! 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you are done. Amazing work, my friends. So we are going to rest right now, walk it off, grab ourselves some water, okay? Woo, take some deep breaths. We are moving on to the next part here. The next 2 exercises working with the superset, not on a timer. We're going to be working with counting our reps, starting off with a single leg exercise, which is going to be a variation of our single leg deadlift that we learned last week, which was the one where we had our leg, which would normally be elevated in the air, this back one here, supported by our chair, like this. So we're going to be starting off with this supported single leg deadlift, working with 12 to 15 reps per side. So we have a range on this one today. So starting off with this one, we can have weights, 2 weights ideally in front of us here, 2 dumbbells in our hands, or we can loop a band underneath the standing leg here, our resistance glute bands here and hold it in the opposite hand and work with that as our weights. So you can set yourself up for this one. If for some reason you do not have a chair or something to elevate your back foot on, or maybe it's too high or too low, instead of doing that, what you can do is do our kickstand deadlift, okay, as it's essentially the same thing. It's just a little bit of a different version of it, okay? But it is still that supported single leg deadlift. So let's start our first set. Again, we're doing 12 to 15 reps, okay? So let's get it going on. We do have a part 2 to this one, which we will talk about once we're finished our first set. Now, to ensure you are in the proper position, we want to make sure that both of your quads, the top of our legs here, are in line with each other, okay? If you have this going on here, and this other leg here is back too far, you're more like in a split squat position, that is going to put a little bit more stretch on this hip here and less work on the glutes. We want to step ourselves back and make sure both those legs are in line, and we'll do 12 to 15 per side, okay? Whatever you do on the one leg, of course, we have to keep it even on the other side. And I would prefer a challenging 12 over a 15, but some of us will need those extra 3 reps to really feel this, okay? This is a hamstring and glute exercise. So back of the leg and, of course, the butt. All right, so we'll get you going through this one here, both sides. And then we are going to pair this one with our sumo deadlifts. Yay! So once you're finished this one here, we are going to grab those weights, bring those weights with us away from our chairs so we have some space, and we can step ourselves out into this wide sumo position in our feet. So our feet are wider than our squat stance, which is in here. We're going to step them out and have that same angle, if not a little bit more of an angle out on our toes. And we're bringing those weights with us. Keep them in front of us here, pushing our hips back behind us. As soon as those weights are above our knees, we'll bend the knees and push them out to the sides. And then we'll stand and pull the hips forward and through. So we're working with 15 reps of this sumo deadlift, okay? If you do not have dumbbells, what you're going to do is grab one of your glute bands and put it around your knees like this, okay? Preferably like a light to medium strength one. And you can do this same exercise with the band, okay? And if for some reason your band, because some of them are very prone to doing this, sort of slips up a little bit, you can just narrow out your stance and even work with a sumo squat. And I'll just avoid having the band roll up the legs, because that happens and it is not enjoyable, okay? And that will just avoid that from happening. Okay, so let's get this done. Woo, 15 of them. All right, again, we want to focus on hips back and then knees out, keeping the shins as upright as possible and the hips back behind us. All right, we'll go through our reps, all 15 of them, and then we are going to take some rest, about 30 seconds. We'll grab some water, shake it out. Okay, we do have 3 more sets to go through. Back to the first one, which is that single supported leg deadlift. Okay, so we're back here, and we will be going through, again, 12 to 15. So we'll take this rest. No timers, you got to time it yourself. Okay, so you just either watch the clock or grab some water, kind of do a little lap, and then come back here and get going on your second set, okay? So, back to the first one. That's supported deadlift. So again, if you don't have dumbbells, you can add a band around this foot, and then we are here, and that knee is bent, and then we'll work with soft knee. And this is a single leg deadlift, and you guys know, because I'm constantly telling you this, anytime we're deadlifting, we have to focus on the hinge of the hips. We want to push the hips back, and that's what this movement is. And now we pull the hips forward, and you'll feel this doing that work, okay? We're not just bringing the body down, all right? Because that's going to make us move through our back, not our hips and our butt, which is the focus here. So we'll think about that, because it is something that you have to think about. Your body naturally usually just wants to kind of bend over like this, okay? But in this one, we want to think about sticking out the hips behind us. And you'll feel it more, and you'll get more out of it. Okay, so second set, we get through our 15. Let's get my brother's dog making an appearance. She's just sort of barking that today. Not an actual appearance. Okay, so again, we'll go right into our second exercise. No rest in between those single legs and these sumos. Okay, we'll try our best to go right into them. Working with the deadlift, okay, which we know again is kind of a two-part exercise. The first part's pushing the hips back, and then the second part is bending the knees to sink into that position. While we bend the knees though, we want to also push them out, okay? You can't do this too much. The whole time, this probably wants to happen, so we have to focus on pushing out here, because as soon as these knees are inward like this, I mean, first of all, it does not look good. It's also really hard on our knees. We're also not using the glutes the way they should be used. We want to push them out the whole time, and that's why we have the toes angled out to promote you to push your knees out, okay? So, we'll take our rest. Once we're done that second set here, 30 seconds of it. Okay, just enough time. I'm gonna sip some H2O. Walk around a little bit, okay? And then we will get going onto our third set. We have 2 more to do, and then 1 more part to our strength. And then we have core today, which is a little bit short and sweet, but I mean, it's actually not that sweet. It's just kind of short and spicy, I should say. We'll see once we get there, okay? But right now, we'll start our next set, okay? Set number 3. Back into our first one, our single leg deadlift. Okay, so this one, again, is this exercise here that we do, that we have done, that we know. But all we're doing is taking the balance out of it. Okay, so let's still think about that same thing, that same hips back. There it is. Third set. There we go. Okay, so again, if you do not have a chair, a bench, something to elevate your back foot, what you can do is move the ball of your foot beside the heel of the opposite foot, and then we'll just do the same thing. Okay, hips back, hips forward. It's just without that elevation of the back leg. Third set. Let's get it. We have about 5 minutes until we should be starting the last part. Maybe 4 minutes. Okay. So we'll get through this third set, again, 12 to 15, trying our best to make that as challenging as we can for 12, okay? So ideally I want you to do 12, making it hard, maybe by going a little bit slower, thinking about it more, okay, or maybe at this point you're just more tired. Okay, we'll try to get those in, and then going right into 15 reps of the sumos, okay? We have 1 last set here. We're still going to take our rest, and then we'll finish up with our final set. So the legs, which are probably feeling quite tired, even just after all those split squats that we did. But now they're done for today, for the week, so that's good news. All right, so third set of those deadlifts. Again, we'll take our rest. And then we have our last set. There you go. Nice work, my friend. Good breathing. Okay. I know those deadlifts, they do kind of creep up on you, especially because we're doing 15 of them. Okay, but again, remember your breath. It's your power on this one. The way up is the hard part. So we'll exhale as we pull ourselves up. Okay, and then we'll take some nice deep inhale, exhales, and get ourselves going on to our final set. Okay, which you have about 3 minutes to do, which is just enough time to rest a little bit if you need to, and then start and finish, okay? So we'll take our time with this last set, but again, we'll try to make it challenging for 12 reps per side. Thinking about that hamstring, thinking about your glute on that working side. 12 of them. Okay, and this pairing of this single leg deadlift and the sumo deadlift, we have similar exercise, there's similar muscles worked, which is why we're taking a rest, okay, which is why we need that 30 seconds of rest between each set that we're doing. But because they are working similar muscles, by the time you get to the deadlifts, okay, here, you should really feel every single rep, okay, in the back of the legs and your glutes. So we'll think about that here on our last set. And just like we talked about in our squats, the way down is a stretch. We're trying to lengthen the back side, the glutes, the hamstrings, stretching, stretching, and then we squeeze and we stand ourselves up with that squeeze. So we'll think about that here. Like sometimes that's all you need to do. Is just focus on that mind-muscle connection. Sometimes you just need a little reminder of that. Okay, so this is yours on your last set of the sumo deadlifts. Yes, I'll give you 1 more minute here to finish them up. So if you've not started them, well then you should, okay? Get them done. This is your last set of them. And then we are going to finish up with our last part, which is 2 exercises, and then we are done. So, or sorry, core. And then we are done. But it's a short core today. It's a good one. We'll talk about that, okay? But once you're finished your last set of these deadlifts, we'll grab a little bit of water. We'll keep everything out and close because this final part will still require your chair, your bench, your couch, whatever you are using, okay? At this point, you might want to put a towel down if you're using your couch. You might be a little bit sweaty, okay? Because for the last one, you're going to start off with a single leg hip thrust, okay? So don't get too excited about putting that away. So we'll let you finish up your last set of these deadlifts. Just about a minute under that to get them done before I start explaining and getting you going on your final 2 exercises, okay? There we go. Okay, so a couple sips of water, deep breaths. We are going to start talking about your final superset. Single leg hip thrust is the first one. So ideally, we want to use our bench or chair to elevate our upper back. We want very narrow feet, just like we had in the warm-up with that one we did. In this one, narrow knees, pushing ourselves all the way up to the top and pulling in our core. Okay, so we really feel this already, right off the bat. And then we're going to lift up one leg and work with this single leg hip thrust where we're tucking in that knee up to our chest, doing 10 per side. Okay, so you can join me here. This is 100% a glute-focused exercise. So we're going to feel this all in our glutes, which you should. Okay, again, you might have to think about it. You might have to hold it a little bit at the top. We're working with 10 on this side and then 10 on the other side. And those of you who do not have the chair, the bench, something to lift up your back, okay, maybe you're sweating, you want to use your couch. What you're going to do is lay on your floor like this and then do the same thing, trying to make contact with your back, not your butt, okay, back to the hips. So we'll be working with 10 on that side, and then again, 10 on the other side. Oh, okay. Woo! And then you can stand yourself up because we have one last exercise that we're going to do with this one, which is going to be a front-loaded squat, ideally with a band around your knees, okay? So we want to grab onto our band and put it just above our knees. Then we'll get those hip thrusts done. And then we are going to front load some dumbbells. I'm going to use my 2 8-pounders here. Get into that squat stance a little bit wider than our hips, toes slightly pointed out. And we'll work with a squat, 2 seconds at the bottom, standing up to the top, 10 reps total. Okay, so 1, 2, and then we stand up, trying to get down to 90 degrees. Keeping the weights in front of us, but not resting them on our chest. Okay, we want belly button into the spine, and we'll hold it here, ideally at 90, and then stand ourselves up. Okay, so we'll work with 10 of those. Of course, if you don't have a band, then you're not using a band, you're doing the same thing. And if you don't have dumbbells, you don't have something weighted to hold here, that's okay. You can just use the band, and then same pause at the bottom. All right. So we are repeating this one 3 more times, okay, 4 sets total. I'll let you guys go right back to back between these ones. We're going to take no rest going into our hip thrusts, single leg, 10 of them, and then back into these squats, 10 with the 2-second pause. We'll do this 3 more times, this little combination here, and then we are going to hang out down on the floor and finish off with that spicy core work, okay? So we'll get this done, again, as efficiently as possible, trying to take no rest. Take a couple deep breaths because, you know, your legs are burning, that's okay, but we will try to limit it as much as possible. Just go back to back between these 2 because these ones, although the band does add lots of hip work to it, we have sort of different work for the hips and the legs here. The hip thrust is a much more, or only, a glute-focused exercise, whereas this front-loaded squat here, we have more of a whole leg, more of a quad, front of the leg focused exercise. So that means we can just do them back to back, okay? No matter how you feel. Even if you feel like you need rest, we'll take it once we're done, okay? Because we are almost there. We are getting there. Okay, so right into that second set. Again, 10 of these single leg hip thrusts per side. 10 of our front squats with a 2-second pause, okay? For those of you who are working with something that's quite heavy, okay, if you are finding that that 2 seconds is too long, you can always just do 1 second, but we will try to take some time down here. Okay, on the flip side, if you're feeling like it's a little bit easy because you're kind of stuck with lighter weights, like me, maybe you only have like a set of 5s or a set of 8s or something like that, you can take a little bit more time descending into the squat, and descending into the squat, and then still have that 2-second pause, and then stand up, and that will make this feel a lot more challenging, okay? It's taking a little bit more time to get down into that pause. And I know you guys want that, so I always give you the options, okay? But some of us might need that. You might need that little reminder, because, you know how I want you to feel by the end of the session, by the end of these sets. I want you to feel like you want to stop, okay? Like you are done, you are worked. And so sometimes you just have to do these little things in order to get the benefit out of these, okay? Out of these sessions, out of these exercises. So we'll remember that as we go through our last 2 sets. So you have 2 more to do of these 2. And then we are hanging out on the floor, okay? And like I said, it is short and spicy. It's going to take us just about 8 minutes to get through that last part for our core. So we have, you know, about 3 to 4 until we should be down there and ready to start. All right. So let's get going on that 3rd set. Again, trying to feel all those reps on those hip thrusts. And most importantly, every single one of those counts for only doing 10 of them. So again, if you need to hold it at the top to feel a little bit more, now would be your time to shine. And there we go. Okay. Second last set. Let's do it. Okay, again, we want to keep that knee tucked into the chest. This one here that's not working. That's going to help us have a stronger position for our core. Because as soon as this leg moves away, we tend to sort of arch our back a little bit. And we want to avoid that. So by having that, we also want to kind of crunch in slightly. You should feel more in your glutes and less pressure on your lower back. Okay? And if you still are feeling pressure in your lower back, what we want to think about more of is that pelvic tilt. So rather than like this happening, we want to shift our pelvis and tilt it under like this, and you'll feel it a lot more. Okay, and that goes for single legs, double leg versions, any kind of hip thrust. That's what we have to think about, is kind of scooping that pelvis under. And for some reason, it's okay. This is your last couple chances to get this work in back there. So, one more set. Woo! We'll get the squats done. Final set of both, and then we are on the floor. Let's get it. Okay. There it is. So we'll move to this final set. Okay, last one, coming up. So we have about 2 minutes for you to finish up this last set. All right. So as you guys are coming towards your last set again, this is the last one. So we'll try our best to make this one count the most, okay? Be as intentional as we can with all these reps. We are going to start talking about the last part here in about 1 minute. So if you have not started your final set, then you should start, okay, and get it done. We'll get this last part done, and then we are hanging out on the floor, okay? So all you are needing for this last part is some space, your body, and your mat. So once you're finished your squats, which you probably are still finishing up right now, we are going to just move everything out of our way, including your chair or your bench, if it is movable, like mine, okay? So that we have a little bit more space. And yeah, that's what we need for the last part, okay? So I'll let you guys finish up, and then, how are we doing? We're doing our squats. Oh yeah, okay. So we'll get those done. What do you do? Yes. Oh yeah, leg is burning. Okay, so we should be really feeling worked in the legs. This is the last part for the lower body for today, so we will finish it strong. And once you are done, grab yourself some water. Try to take your time with it, and then you can come on down here and join me on the floor, where we are going to be finishing up our last part. Okay, so today, the core work that we are going to be doing is all about planking. Yay. Not so yay, but planking is important. And the only way we get better at planking is by specifically planking. Okay, you have to do it to get better at it. So today we're going to focus on it. We are going to plank it out, holding our planks for 60 seconds at a time. Okay, which right off the bat, we know is going to be challenging. Just to top that off, we are going to be doing 4 sets of these 60-second holds with only 30 seconds of rest in between them, okay? So 1 minute of planking, 30 seconds of laying down on the floor, pondering our lives, and then we get back up and plank for a minute, and then we lay down. Okay, we're doing 4 rounds, and then we are done, okay? So get yourself ready to plank. You want to be on our forearms with the parallel separated hands like this, parallel forearms, okay? We'll talk about that. Get yourself into position 1, and here we go. Let's do it, okay? So we'll be holding this position here again, not applying pressure to our hands, trying to open up the hands, push onto our toes, straighten out our legs, and hold this position here, breathing, okay? So I want you to try your very best to maintain this plank as strong as you can, at least for this first round, okay? We'll see if we can hold this here. 30 seconds left, because we're halfway through. Something that I find helps in planking is breathing, okay? I know I'm always talking about breathing, but it's super important, especially in planking, because we tend to kind of tense up and hold in and not breathe, and then we get lightheaded and dizzy, and it's just not fun. It makes it a lot harder. So if you focus on inhaling and exhaling, and just either counting your breaths or just going really slow, counting the exhales, counting the inhales. 5 seconds left, okay? We'll maybe get through this a little bit quicker. 3, 2, and rest. So right now you're resting. Like I said, you're probably flopped down on the floor because that was really hard, and that's okay. We're gonna stay down here, okay? And get back up there in 15 seconds, all right? So take a couple deep breaths, all right? Maybe you also wanna do a little bit of this between your sets. It might feel kind of nice. But we will get ready to start our second round in 3, 2, 1, and let's go. Okay, so second set of the plank. We'll try to do the exact same thing we did on that first set. Okay, so focus on your breathing. You want to make sure our legs are staying as straight as possible. Okay, at any point, if you're not going to make it, okay, because you're going to start to feel a lot more challenged in this one, the next one, and the last one, of course, try widening up your feet before you drop your knees down, okay? You're 30 seconds through, halfway through. So if you are not going to make it, we can take a little bit of a wider stance in our feet, which is going to widen your base of support and make it feel a little bit easier on your core just because you're wider in your feet, okay? So 15 seconds, all right? Not so much that I want you to like do the splits, but a little bit wider than that hip width apart position does make a big difference. 5 seconds here. 3, 2, 1, and rest. Woo! Okay. We have 2 more rounds and we are done. So again, if you want to do a quick little stretch out, something like that, or just lay down on the floor, okay? Whatever you want to do, we are going to do it for 15 more seconds. We have 2 more sets, okay? Remember what I said about planking? You got to do it to get better at it. We'll remember that right now, okay, as we start our 3rd set in 3, 2, and let's go. Okay, that was you. This is us. Let's do it. Okay, 3rd set here. Trying to hold as strong as we can through our 3rd set, although we are really starting to feel this. Starting to get really tired. But try our best to just breathe through this. Get through. Holding on to the legs. Okay. Just about halfway. We have 30 seconds left. Okay. So we'll try to breathe. There we go. And focus on straightening your legs, kind of squeezing your quads, squeezing your butt. Okay, these are all things that you can kind of think about, pushing up onto your toes, not letting your heels sink back. They are a little bit of a distraction factor, but they're also helping us kind of clean up our form. Less than 10 seconds, you guys. You've got this. Okay, stay there. 3, 2, 1, and rest. Okay, we have 1 more set, and then we are done. Okay, the last set. Yeah, it's going to be the hardest set. Okay, this one is definitely going to be the most challenging. It's also the most important one because we are the most tired, the most fatigued. Okay, so you have 10 seconds. Take some deep breaths. Get yourself ready. Okay, this is the last plank of today, again, of the week. So let's get it done right here, right now. Okay, don't think about it. We're just going to hold it here as strong as we can and feel freaking amazing after, because minute-long planks are really hard, especially when you do them like this, okay, with only 30 seconds in between. It makes it way harder because it's not enough time to really rest, which is the whole goal of doing this time format, okay? It gets progressively harder, which is why you're feeling this way right now. But remember, this is something that you can work through. And if you do, you're only going to be stronger. And next time you come back to planking, you're going to feel like it is no problemo, or maybe just a minor problemo over a big one, okay? 20 seconds. You got this. Okay, if you're dropping your knees down, pick them back up. Get them back up there. Try that widening of the feet technique, all right? Or maybe you want to try to walk your feet together. Really challenge yourself, all right? 10 seconds. You got this. 5, 4, 3, 2, and now you are done. Great work, you guys. Okay, so you are resting right now, and we are going to start off by getting up into this position and stretching it out a little bit, starting off with this cat-cow. So we can round our back up, tuck our chin in, get that nice stretch from the back of our neck into our spine. Take a breath, and then we will reverse that, sending our ribs down up into the ceiling. Oh, stretching out the core, which you feel the planking. And we'll do that about 3 to 5 times. Rounding up, arching back, okay, working with whatever feels good, shouldn't feel painful. 3 to 5, continue to 3, maybe go up to 5 if they feel nice. And then we will sink onto our heels, walk our hands away, and spend a little bit of time down in this position, getting a nice stretch on our back, starting with our upper back here into our lower back, back of the hips. So we'll hold this for about 30 to 60 seconds, hanging out, stretching it out. Okay, touch sensitive knees, sensitive hips. You can find yourself a chair, a couch, something to put your hands up on. You'll just feel a little bit more comfortable, less of a bend. Okay, so we'll start off with those 2. There are a couple more that I would like you to do, starting off with your glutes, okay? So there's a few options that we have. This is the one that I would suggest doing, where we cross our knee across, put our ankle on top of our knee like this, and reach through, pull in our leg. You can also move yourself close to a wall, like I often suggest, and have this foot on the wall, and then you don't have to pull it in, okay? But we will take some time to stretch out the back of the hips, back of the legs, because we did so much work back there, okay? So this not only is gonna feel nice, but it's going to help you feel better over the next few days by lengthening and loosening everything up that we just tightened and worked. So we'll spend 1 whole minute, all right? Non-negotiable minute per side, all right? Spend a minute on this side, a minute on the other side. Get at least 1 set of that minute-long hold in, okay? And you guys can set your timer, okay? Because I'm going to leave you with this one. And then the other one, the last one that I would suggest you do, is back to that bow and arrow that we did at the very beginning, the warm-up, but you can stretch it out in this position, okay? Rather than move through it, we can take some time to loosen up our back, our hips, our chest, and you can either stack or weave your legs. I know I'm a little bit cut off on the camera there, but that's another one that you can work through and hold each side for about a minute. All right, you guys are done with me. So stretch it out and hopefully you feel good. Thank you so much. Love having all of you here in the Zoom room. Hopefully you all have a great day and you feel good. Get lots of water in, and I will hopefully see you guys tomorrow. Bye.